we need to review, right? We always review. Where in the Bible can we find where God created everything? Brooke.
Genesis 1:1.
And what does Genesis 1:1 say?
In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth.
Very good. Okay, so if we want to find creation, we look in Genesis. And Genesis is the first book in the Bible, right? You open, you pass the little title page and table of contents, all of that, right? Right where it starts is Genesis chapter 1, verse 1. And can we say it together? Genesis 1:1. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. Genesis 1:1. Very good. It's the very first page. And right after that is the other days of creation, which is what we've been studying every week. Right? So on the first day, who knows what God created the first day? Do you know? You can give it a guess. Water. Okay, that's a good guess. I actually don't know when God created the water because it doesn't say. It just says that it was there. The light. Yes. God created light. And he called the light day. And he called the dark night. Yeah. Last time I said that backwards and I gave you the answer instead of the question. Okay. What day did God create the air? Remember he separated the waters, Brooke?
Day 4.
No, not day 4, but that's a good guess. Anyone else? The air. Remember we did this if you were here? Let's get someone else. Anyone remember? Cadence, you held it up.
No, I didn't.
You did it? Your fingers just happened to make a certain number? They did a minute ago. She did this. It looked like.
That's funny.
You didn't know? Oh, I thought she was sitting here saying, I know what day God created the air. Does anybody else know? Coraline? The second day. So everyone hold up a 2. Let's put it kind of here like we're hiding it. Right? The second day. What did God create on the second day? Air. Does anybody remember the hard word that the Bible calls it? It starts with a
Firmament.
Very good. Firmament.
I've been practicing that word at my house.
You have? Yeah. I don't know that I've ever used that word except for in the Bible. But it's important to know. Okay. Who knows what God created the third day? It is really hard to remember all of the days, right?
Yes.
Do you know, Coraline?
The
The trees, yes. She's right. The trees. What else, Cadence?
plants.
The plants. What else?
The grass.
The grass. Yep. Third day, we've got trees, grass, plants, and you said it.
The earth.
The earth. Like the dirt of the earth. He called the dry land. He called it earth. Right? So what was day 3? Can I have any people in the back tell me what was day 3?
Earth.
Brooke?
Genesis.
No. What did God create on day 3? It is in Genesis if we want to find out. Sawyer? You got it? Any of the things that we just said? Plants. Yeah. What day did God create the fruit, like apples and oranges? Cadence?
The third.
The third day. I'm thinking I might have to give some prizes for answering questions. Is that going to encourage anyone? Too bad I don't have prizes. I got gold coins. Who wants a gold coin? A few of y'all? Okay. We'll give out gold coins for participation at the end. What day did God create corn and potatoes? Brooke?
Third.
The third day. That is right. Okay, what day did God create the sun? Hold up the finger. What day you think it was? The sun. The sun. Brooke is correct. The 4th day. It gets confusing, right? Because day 1 was light. But that light wasn't the sun. He didn't create the sun until day 4. We studied that last week. What else? The sun and what else? Day 4. What did we study last week? God created the sun, the moon, and the Sawyer. The stars. Very good. So everyone say, hold up a 4. Hold up a 4. Say, sun, moon, and stars.
Sun, moon, and stars.
Okay, now question. How come, we know the sun is a star, right? You remember that? Why does it look so much bigger and brighter and all the other stars look tiny? Sawyer?
Because it's closer.
Because it's closer. Y'all were paying attention last week. Good job. Good job. I forgot to hold up the pictures. I got the pictures right here. Okay, so we'll review again. Okay? Can you read this, Cadence?
Yes.
Okay, read it out loud for me.
All things were made by him, and without him it was not anything it made that was made.
Right, and what does that mean in your own words?
It means nothing was made till he made it.
Yeah. Nothing was made without Jesus. Yep, everything that was made with him. And that's in John 1:3. Okay. So what day? Hold up a finger. The light. What day did God create the light? And he called the light day and the dark night. I get confused. Day 1. Yep, very good. Okay, what day did God create the air to separate the waters? Try not to look at your friends, just think, what day did God create the air? Day 2. Day 2 is the air. Okay. What day? This is actually, it looks very similar. This is just air. What's here? Dry land. What day did God create dry land?
Sand.
Yeah, sand. Sand. What day? Hold up a number. 2, 3, 10. What day?
We don't know 10.
There weren't 10 days. Day 3. Everyone should have a 3 for dry land. Okay? How about the rocks, mountains, plants, fruit, trees? What day? Hold up fingers. If you have a 3, you are correct. And remember the experiment we did? We did seeds that day. That was fun, seeing them grow. Okay. What day did God create the sun? The sun. I see a couple. 4. 4 is correct. It's okay if you're wrong, okay? Sometimes I don't like to be wrong. I'm like, I'm not sure. I don't want to hold up the wrong number, but it's okay. We're all wrong sometimes. We don't remember it. I told someone the wrong day just a few days ago of what things were created. So the sun, everyone hold up a 4. Sun was a 4, and remember the earth goes around the sun. How long does it take the earth to go around the sun? Corley? A year. Very good. It takes a year for the earth to go all the way around the sun. Okay. Now the earth is like tilted a little bit and it just rotates. How long does it take the earth to rotate one time? Brooke? No, but that's a good guess. Corley?
Year?
No, that's a good guess too. You're right on the
I know it's days, but
A day. It rotates one time in one day. 24 hours. Okay. What day did God create the moon? hold up the fingers. What day? The moon. 4. God created the moon on the 4th day. And remember the phases of the moon? We did that last week. We looked at it. Where does the moon get its light from? Who knows? Where does the moon get its light? Sawyer?
The sun.
From the sun. The moon doesn't have its own light. It gets light from the sun. It reflects the sun's light. And that's how we get the different phases based on where it is. How long does it take the moon to go around the earth one time? Got it?
A month.
A month. Yes. The moon goes around the earth one time. It takes a month. Okay. What day did God create the stars? The stars, hold up the number. Do you know, Brooke, the stars? 4. The sun, moon, and stars on day 4. And the Bible tells us that He counts each one. He says how many stars there are, and He knows all of their names. He's named them all. How many stars do you think there are? Like 100?
Millions.
Like tons and tons. We can't even count them all. Every time we think we know how many stars there are, something's invented and there's more farther away that we haven't seen yet. But God knows how many stars there are. None of us know, none of the scientists know. God knows how many stars there are, and He has a name for each one of them. Okay, so word for today's lesson. We are investigating creation. Very good. We're investigating creation. Okay, we've talked about the first 4 days, right, of creation. So what day are we talking about today? Day 5. Day 5. So everyone hold up a 5. Today we're talking about day 5. Now, I want you to imagine. Do you know what the word imagine means? Like you think about. Okay, if you want to close your eyes, you can. Okay, so just the first 4 days, what all would you have seen if it was just the first 4 days of creation? What would you have seen, Coralie? Trees. What else? What else would you have seen? Brooke?
Food.
Food. Be more specific. What kind of food? Tell me.
Corn, tomatoes, and also
That's good. Yeah, corn, tomatoes, food, that kind of food. Okay, Cadence, what else would you have seen?
vegetables.
Fruits and vegetables. What else would we have seen? The sun. Yeah, those are all very good things. Things we would see. Okay, because we're scientists, right? And we have 5 senses. One of those senses is seeing. Do you know any of the other ones?
Hearing.
Hearing. So what would we have heard just the first 4 days? Would we have heard birds chirping? Not yet. But that was, thank you for participating.
The water weighing.
Okay, the water moving, making waves. That's what we would have heard. Yeah. What else would we have heard just the first 4 days? Brooke?
The animals.
Were animals created yet in the first 4 days? No. That's normally what we think of, right? Animals make so much noise. But we wouldn't have heard the animals or the birds. So we've got the water, the waves. What else would we have heard?
The leaves on the trees.
The leaves on the trees. Yeah, we could have heard that. Coralie? Huh? Yeah, fruit falling from the trees, making a, right? Maybe it would have made that noise. Okay, so we talked about seeing and hearing. What other senses do we have?
Tasting.
Tasting. What would we have tasted just the first 4 days?
Probably apples and oranges.
Apples and oranges, yeah. What else? What else would we have tasted just the first 4 days? Vegetables, yep. and fruit. Okay, so we've got seeing, hearing, tasting. What else? What other senses? Brooke?
Also we would have, also there's one more thing you can hear yourself.
But we weren't created yet. I know we're talking about what would we see, hear, all of that, but we wouldn't hear ourselves because people weren't created. But yes, you're kind of right. Okay, so we have seeing, right? We have hearing. We have tasting. Those are the three we talked about. There's two more. Who knows? What are the two more? Okay, let's do Sawyer. Smelling. We didn't do smelling, right? Okay, I get confused. Smelling. What would we have smelled just the first 4 days? Brooke?
We would smell all the fruit.
We would smell the fruit. Oh, can you imagine smelling like an orange? Smells so good. Sawyer?
Flowers.
Flowers. We would have smelled the flowers. Coraline?
Fresh air.
Fresh air. Oh, yes, some fresh air. We would have smelled those things, right? Okay, we have one more thing. What is it?
Feeling.
Feeling, touching. What would we have touched, Brooke?
The trees.
We would have touched the trees, the bark. Has anybody ever touched the bark on the tree? It's rough. Okay. What else, Coraline?
The water.
The water. We could have touched the water.
Everything.
Everything. What is everything, though? Would we have touched fur? Like on a cat?
There's no fur made because
There's no fur made. Yeah. Okay. So, you got one, Brooke?
Yeah. We could have reached in the water and touched the animals.
Were animals made yet? Just the first 4 days.
The water animals.
But were they made?
No.
No, not yet. We're going to talk about it today, though.
We could have felt the ground.
Yes, we could have felt the ground.
We have to feel the ground to
Yep.
walk.
Okay, so God made everything in a specific order, right? If He had made us before He made the land,
We would sink.
would that have worked very well?
No.
No.
Poor little baby sink.
What if He made us before He made the sun?
No.
No, we need the sun, right? We maybe would have frozen or something.
Wait, frozen.
Okay? Yeah, because the sun keeps us warm.
Yeah. True.
Yeah. We're going to look at what God made on day 5. And we know that nothing was an accident, right? God made everything in the right order. Okay, so if I want to look in the Bible and see what was made on day 5, where should I look? Should I open the middle?
No.
No? Genesis. Yep, you're right. I should go to Genesis. What chapter? Brooke?
1:1.
No. Just chapter 1. Chapter 1. Okay. So if we want to look at day 5, we need to read verse 20. So everyone say 20.
20.
Verse 20. Verse 20. We have to look at verse 20 to see what God made on day 5. Yep. Okay, so are y'all listening? You have your listening ears on? Everyone? You know how I know if you're listening? If I see your eyes. If your eyes are over here, you're probably not listening. Okay, so I see everybody's eyes. I know everybody's listening because we're going to read God's Word. Okay, Genesis chapter 1 verse 20 says, "And God said, let the waters bring forth abundantly the moving creature that hath life." Let the waters bring forth abundantly. That means like a lot. The moving creature that hath life. What are the moving creatures in the water? Who knows? Whales.
Fish.
Fish.
Also sharks. But
Sharks. Yes, all of those are moving. You got another one?
Turtles.
Turtles.
I can't say it.
Squids.
Yes.
Yes. Sawyer, you got one? Something in the waters, moving creatures in the water. Spider.
Crabs.
Crabs. Okay. There are some things that are so tiny. And you see everyone's eyes.
I can barely see.
Let me see everyone's eyes so I know you're listening. This is blown up. There's something so tiny you need a microscope. Hard word to say. Microscope to see it. Like algae and protozoa. Okay? And then there's things really big, like the blue whale, that's as long as a school bus. Right? Those are both in the water. Tiny, tiny things we can't even see. And big things like the whale. Yes, Brooke?
I found starfish.
Starfish. We're going to get there. Okay?
Starfish in water.
Here's a few things. Jellyfish, clams, shrimp, stingrays, sea urchins, sea cucumbers. Brooke, here's your starfish. Do you see it?
Yeah.
And what is this?
Crab.
Lobster. Lobster. Some of these things are really cool. Some of them are a little strange or unusual, right? God made all of them. And these are just 8. You know how many the scientists say there are?
Who knows?
Like 30,000. Whoa. Whoa, did you think of one, Bentley?
Yeah, octopus live in the water.
Yes, the octopus. Okay, let's look. I've got 4 more pictures. Okay. See the seals, dolphin, whales, and we already said sharks, right?
I said that.
Yeah. So these are just some of the water animals. And remember, there's like 30,000. And God made each one of them. Some of them live in salt water in the ocean. Some live in fresh water in the seas and rivers. Some live in cold water. Some live in hot water. God made each and every one of them. You have a question, Corla?
And also, I read a book in school about whales, and the black and white one is one of the worst whales in the list.
Oh, you got something?
How do they take pictures of the animals?
Well, some of them come up above the water, and then some of them they
Like-
have to take them with underwater cameras.
Like those two on this side. That
This
looks,
side, the seal and the dolphin?
yeah, it looks
Yeah.
like they're out of.
Yeah, they're out of the water. You have something to say, Brooke?
Yeah.
What?
Some of the animals, some of them are able to go on land.
Mm-hmm. They are able, like the seals can go on land, but they're also water animals. Okay, so what day did God create the water animals? The Bible says, verse 20, the moving creatures, right, in the waters. What day? 5. Everybody hold up a 5 so we don't forget. 5. 5. Day 5 is all the water animals, the fish, right? Okay. Now, that's not all. I only read the first half of verse 20. The second half says, and fowl. Does anybody know what fowl means? Brooke? You don't? Anybody know what fowl? If you had to guess, I bet somebody could guess. Y'all are scientists and you observe. You had to guess what fowl were. Coraline? Birds. Very good. Yes. Fowl are different kinds of birds. Okay. So verse 20 it says, and fowl that may fly. Everybody fly. Fly like a bird.
I'm not sure we can fly, but.
Fly with a 5, right? Because it was day 5. So make your 5 fly. We're making 5 fly because God created the fowl, right? The fowl that fly above the earth in the open firmament in heaven. So God created the fowl, which what is fowl? birds. Birds are found on day 5. Right? Day 5. Okay. Now, I've got 4 pictures of different birds. I want y'all to look at them. What is one of them?
Bald eagles and
The bald eagle. Okay.
and hummingbirds.
And hummingbirds, Brooke.
Also, that was a blue jay.
The blue jay, and this last one. Does anyone know what it's called?
I'm
Sawyer?
Pelican.
The pelican. Okay, now, do these birds look the same? They're all birds.
No, not at all.
No, they look very, very different. What do you notice that's different about all of them, Coralie?
The blue jay is blue.
Okay, their color.
The eagle has a
The beak.
curve.
His beak is curved. Do you know why his beak is curved?
What?
Do you know, Brooke?
So they can swallow up. Get up. It kind of helps them eat.
It helps them eat because it helps them tear
And what?
the flesh of its prey.
Also pick them up.
Okay.
And
Okay, let's raise our hand. Coralie?
And also are those hummingbirds?
Yep, the hummingbirds. What do you notice about the hummingbirds?
Longer beaks than-
Has a long, skinny beak. Why do you think that is? Anybody know? Why does the Sawyer?
To sip nectar out of flowers.
Exactly, to sip the nectar out of the flowers. It has to have a long, skinny beak. Okay, what else, Cadence?
Every different bird has a different feathers, different colors, and different shapes.
Mm-hmm.
And what do the bluebirds have?
The bluebirds have a little bit shorter beak and wider because they crack like seeds. Okay, so their beak has to be able to get the seeds.
That white thing right there?
Right here, that's a pelican. What do you notice about its beak?
It's
Brooke?
the longest. There's also butterflies.
Okay, but let's look at these birds. What do you notice about the pelican, Cadence?
It has a longer beak out of all of them.
Okay, it's longest. What else? Coralie? The fattest. It's like deep, right? Why do you think it's deep, Sawyer?
So it can catch fish.
So it can catch fish. Yep. And y'all may not be able to see their feet very well, but the pelican also has like webbed feet so it can swim on the water a little better.
No way.
Yeah. Yes way. God created each one of these birds. They're all birds, but they're all different. They eat different things and they live in different environments. And God created them specifically just for what they needed. He gave them the beaks they needed. He put them in the place they needed, like the pelicans are near the water that they can get the fish. And we, in our lab time, we're going to study more about the beaks. Okay. We're going to look at one more thing. What is that?
Bone.
Bones. Okay. I believe the top is a bird bone and the bottom is a human bone. Now these are not to scale necessarily. Okay. Do you see, can y'all see from the differences from where you are? Okay, the human bone is kind of solid right here and it's got bone marrow and stuff in it, and the bird bones have air pockets inside of them. Okay, so they've got a lot of air. So I wonder if their bones are like weak because it's like they have holes in their bones, or the outside is denser and thicker. So I wonder if that makes it weaker or stronger. What do you think? Do you think bird bones, if there's all that air inside, would it be very strong? I see some of this like, I don't know, maybe no, Brooke?
I think they're weak.
You think they're weak. That's gonna be our second experiment today in our lab time. Okay, we're gonna see if, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take paper. All of my paper is thick. Here's a piece of paper that's not thick. We're gonna roll it up, tighter than that, and we're gonna see how strong it is to represent the bird bones. Okay? So half of y'all are gonna go in a room and do that, and the other half are gonna do the beaks, and then we'll switch. Okay, so let me say a little note for our friends on the camera, because you are going to watch Miss Michelle explain the lab this week, okay?
Hello, we're here for our lab for day number 5. On the 5th day of creation, God created the birds and the fish. We talked about that in our lesson today. So in our lab, we're going to do some experiments, have some activities having to do with birds and fish. Now, we tried to think of some examples or some activities to do with fish. Now, we couldn't think of anything, but we did come up with 2 different activities about birds, and so that's what we're going to do this week. So the very first activity that we're going to do today has to do with the bones of birds. Now, if you've studied much about the bones of birds, you will know that they are a little bit hollow inside. Most animals and human beings' bones have bone marrow inside of them, and so they're not hollow, but a bird's bone is. Now, it's not completely hollow, but it has lots of holes inside of it so that air can go inside of it. Now, why do you think a bird's bones would be somewhat hollow? Now, if you set it so that they'll be able to be lighter in order to fly, that's not exactly right. Because if you were to take a bird of a certain size and then find another animal the very same size, their bones would actually weigh the same. But the bird's bones are going to be hollow and the other animal's bones will not be. So I'm going to use this piece of paper just as an example. Here's a piece of paper that I've rolled up and it's a little bit hollow. The outside of the bird's bones is thicker, it's denser, and so it's actually just as heavy as the other animal's bones would be. But there's something special about the way God has made those bones. Even though they're a little bit hollow inside, they are quite strong in order to be able to hold up the bird and to not just be broken very easily. So this experiment that we're going to do today has to do with birds' bones and to see if they're very strong or not. So what you want to do is take just a regular piece of printer paper. I'm just using some recycled paper, no problem. Whatever kind of paper, just regular printer paper, and you want to make it so that it's the long way, and you're just going to take your paper and you're going to roll it up something like this, and then you'll just use regular tape and just tape a little bit at the top and the bottom, and you want your opening to be roughly about 1 inch, so something like that. To save time, I already did them, and you want 3 of them, okay? And then you'll put them on a surface and you will stack them something like this, and then just take a styrofoam, paper plate, whatever you have, just not your mom's good dishes, okay? Because it will break. All right, so we're gonna take our styrofoam plate, or if you have a paper plate of some sort, and we're gonna put it on top of our bones. Now you wanna sort of make sure that your bones are somewhat evenly spaced apart. And I'm gonna put this one just a little bit more that way. All right, now you've got everything set up. Now, you can just go around your house and find all kinds of things that you can put on top of here to test the weight of these bird's bones, okay? So the example that we saw on the internet said coins. We just didn't have a lot of coins because we can't get a lot of coins right now. So I brought a variety of other things. I have just some of these little fruit snacks. So you can put some of these fruit snacks on, and you can think about counting them and think about what you've put on there so far. So far, that's what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Here's some Star Crunches. I just found whatever was here at the kitchen of the church. Again, find something that you have at your house. So we have, I think, what did I say, 6 or 7 fruit snacks. We now have 5 Star Crunches. And if we look underneath, it doesn't look like it's doing anything. All right, so I'm gonna take these off. Maybe we need to try something a little heavier, okay? So I have some other things over here. Let's see what we can put on that would be heavier. So part of being a scientist is just trying and experimenting. You might have had an idea in your mind, oh, just a few coins. I know when I first tried it with a few coins, I thought it would hold it up. I thought these would maybe make the things bend, but this is strong so far. So we could try, well, I'm gonna knock them over though if I'm not careful. Hold on, let me get them positioned again. All right, well, I just have some cans. Maybe your mom has some cans of things in the kitchen. So let's put a couple of these on and see if we can make it work here. I was hoping I could get 4 of those on there maybe, but I don't think so. All right, well, we've got 3 of those cans and still the bones are not falling apart or breaking. Let's see, maybe if we put some water bottles on here, what do you think about those? Need 1 more maybe? Oh, and it's still keeping strong. It should kind of buckle underneath here a little bit. It's not doing that. So, what else could we put on there? Well, I've got this big can. Maybe we could actually stack this big can on here. You want to be careful in case it might fall over, fall down because it's too heavy. I still can't make it go down. Well, I have this really big can. I wonder if I put this big can on here, what would happen? Let's try and see. Well, I think that did it, but look what I put on there. I had this big one, I had 3 of these cans, and I had 3 water bottles. All of this weight before my legs finally gave way. And you can see these are all very heavy. So it was a lot heavier than I thought it was going to be. You try it at home you don't have to have exactly these things, just find what you can have in order to test the weight and see what kind of things you can find out that your bird's legs will hold up to. All right, now we're ready for our next experiment. This also has to do with birds, only this will be doing with birds' beaks. And so we have a little worksheet here or chart that we're going to use for this experiment. You'll see on this side that we actually have 5 different categories. And so this is the different kinds of beaks that we have. We have a sucking beak, which we're going to use with our straw. We're going to use our probing beak, which will be our tweezers. This would be if we needed to get into small spaces, maybe to get tiny insects out of the bark of trees or small little spaces. We have strong beak, our pliers. We have a tearing beak. There are some birds that they like to eat other animals, and so they need a strong beak that will tear the flesh, and so that they can have that to eat. And then the last thing is a scooping beak. There are some birds that would scoop down and would get different things, and so we have this one as well. Now we know these aren't really like birds' beaks, but they're supposed to just be an example to kind of show us what kind of beaks birds might have. And we've been learning in our lessons that God has designed everything for a purpose, and He has designed it as a wonderful designer, and He has a plan for every bird and what that bird is going to eat. And so He's given it certain kinds of beaks to go with the things that it will eat. So we've tried to come up with some of the things that a bird might sort of eat. Some birds only drink nectar or juice from flowers. So we have a flower here. In this one, we have some bits of rice, which are supposed to be like little insects. And in here, you only want to get the colored pieces of rice, okay? We've got some sunflower seeds because there are some birds that are just seed eaters or nut eaters. We've got a marshmallow here, which is going to represent the flesh-eating birds that might eat other animals. We've got some fish here, and we're going to dump those inside our water because some birds eat the fish out of big lakes or rivers or ponds and things like that. And then we also have some dirt here, and you can see our worms that are in there as well. So the idea here is you want to use your investigative skills, and you want to discover if I was a bird and I had a certain kind of beak, what kind of things would I be able to eat? So you want to just use the different things and experiment. For instance, if I have a flower, I'll put my flower right here. If I had a flower, would I be able to use a scooping beak for that? Well, I can't even get the scoop inside, can I? So that's not a good option. What if I had a kind of a short, strong beak? It also won't even go inside my flower. I mean, I can put my tearing beak inside, but when I go to do that, I get very little nectar out. I mean, I would die of thirst if I were a bird and that's all that I got. Same thing with this one. It'll go inside the flower, but goodness, I'm not gonna get a whole lot out there, am I? But then we have the straw. And of course, if we were to put this inside here, look at how much nectar I can get out of here now. Yes. Now, I know you might say, well, what bird has a straw for a beak? Well, it's not really a straw, but if you think of the hummingbird, it has a very long, thin beak, and it drinks nectar from flowers. And so it would be something like this, and that's how it would get its the nectar out of the flower. So this is one of the foods, and then you can discover on your own some of the other ones. What of these 5 different kinds of beaks that we're talking about would be really good for getting only the colored parts out? Now you might find that some of them will work, but they're not going to be really fast or really effective, okay? Which one are good at cracking seeds? Which one are good at trying to tear apart the flesh of this marshmallow that we're using? Which one are good for getting the worms out of the dirt? And which one is good for scooping out the fish? And remember with this one, if you are a bird and you're flying over the water, you're probably kind of higher up and you're gonna have to dive down into the water. So you want a kind of beak that's gonna be very good for being accurate in order to dive down, scoop it out, and get it. So you can kind of mark your results of what you find and which ones you find to be very good for each one of these categories of food, and then determine what kind of beak would be the very best for each of the different foods that we have listed. Well, I hope you'll have fun today in trying some of these different experiments, and just be creative and find what you can find that God had to design, and find out what kind of beaks that He designed in order for the food that these birds were going to eat. Well, I hope you'll have fun with this experiment, and we'll see you next week.